Hello everybody, this is Mark. This is a tutorial on how to do the money personality assessment. So what is your money personality? Well, your money personality is influenced by your motivations, who you are, your motives, the internal characteristics that influence your money behavior. And those characteristics come from two different orientations. One is time and one is risk. So in your time orientation, you're either future or present oriented. You either care more about the future or more about the present. With your risk orientation, you're either risk tolerant, meaning that you're willing to take on extra risk, or you're risk averse, meaning that you prefer to avoid risk if that's possible. So what is your money personality? So let's find out. For each of the questions that are presented in these slides, I want you to choose the letter that precedes the phrase that best completes each of the 12 statements, and it best describes you. Now, a few of the questions are not going to necessarily fit you right now because they're more for people that are older adults. And so what you want to do on those questions is think about yourself 10 years from now and how you might be based on who you are now. But most of these questions you should be able to answer. And I want you to answer them as honestly and as fast as possible. Don't think about it too much because I want you to figure out what your money personality is and not what you want it to be. Okay? There's no right answer. There's no wrong answers to these statements. So just answer them as quickly and honestly as you can. So what you'll want to do since you're doing this online is you want to get a sheet of paper and you want to number it 1 through 12. Typically in class we would do this with this money personality assessment sheet, but you can create it on your own piece of paper. So take out a piece of paper and number it 1 through 12. And then next to those 1 through 12, I want you to put your letter response. And I'll give you the key at the end so that you can calculate what goes with each letter. Okay? So we'll go through each question at a time, and I want you, again, to answer it as honestly and as quickly as possible so we get the most accurate assessment that we can get. All right, question 1. Most of my money is A, spent or owed to creditors, B, in the bank, C, tied up in shares or property investments, D, dedicated to a new car or home renovations. Which one best describes you, A, B, C, or D? Whichever it is, write that letter down on your sheet of paper next to number 1. We'll go to question 2. If I won $1 million, I would A, throw a fantastic party on a cruise ship for all my friends and family to celebrate. B, put it in the bank and phone my financial advisor. C, use it to set up a dream business, a business I've been dreaming of on the side. D, buy a better house or car. Which one best describes you? Write that letter down next to number 2 on your sheet of paper. Question 3. My philosophy on money is A, it doesn't grow on trees, so be careful with it. B, you can't take it with you when you die, so you may as well use it while you can. C, you need it to be able to surround yourself and your family with things that you love. Or D, it can come and go, so make the most of it when you have it. Whichever one best describes you, write that letter down next to number 3 on your sheet of paper. Number 4. My favorite way to spend spare time is A, shopping or traveling to exotic places. B, doing things that are fun, but free or low cost. C, doing things to improve my house, my car, myself, or something else I own. Or D, dreaming up a new business venture. Whichever one of those best describes you, write that letter down next to number 4 on your sheet of paper. Question 5. What I am most concerned about is that A, I earn decent money but don't have much savings to show for it. B, I have the majority of my money tied up in savings, but it's really not growing much. C, I don't mind taking risks with my money, but it can upset my loved ones. D, I probably shouldn't spend so much, but I find it hard not to sometimes. Whichever one of those responses best describes you, write that letter down next to number 5 on your sheet of paper. Number 6. Other people consider me to be A, generous with my money, B, careful with my money, C, well off because of my lifestyle, or D, a successful investor. Whichever one of those responses corresponds to you, write that next to number 6 on your answer sheet. Number 7. When I spend money, I buy A, things I love and make me happy, sometimes on impulse. B, things only after I've done a lot of research and shopped around for the best price. C, only things I really need because I would rather invest it. Or D, quality things that will last even if they cost a bit more. Again, whichever one of those best describes you, write that down to next to number 7 on your answer sheet. Question 8. My view on retirement savings is A, I save money each payday for my retirement. B, I'll start saving for retirement when I've had a chance to pay down my mortgage and get settled into my life. C, I'm investing mostly in property and businesses that I will sell to fund my retirement. Or D, I don't really focus on saving for retirement. It's not my main priority in life. Whichever one of those best describes you, write that letter next to number 8 on your answer sheet. Number 9. When it comes to managing money. A, sometimes I have trouble with controlling it. B, I keep careful track of what I've got and how much I've spent. C, I have a good income, but I don't know exactly where all my money goes. D, I do take risks, but they usually pay off. Whichever one of those answers best describes you, put that letter next to number 9 on your answer sheet. 3 more questions. Question number 10. A source you trust wants you to invest $25,000 in an exciting new business venture. You say A, yes, even if you have to borrow some of the money. B, yes, only if you have the $25,000 to afford it. C, no, because it's too risky. Or D, no, because if you had $25,000 available, you'd rather spend it on yourself. Whichever one of those answers best describes you, write that down next to number 10 on your answer sheet. Question 11. When it comes to buying a house to live in, A, I'm not sure I could save enough to buy the one I really like. B, I'll buy what I can easily afford. C, I'd buy the house I really like, even if it means having to slightly adjust my other spending to pay the mortgage. Or D, I'd buy an average house to live in so that I could buy one or more investment properties as well. So whichever one of those responses best describes you, write that letter next to number 11 on your answer sheet. And finally, number 12. When it comes to credit cards, A, I either don't use one or I pay off the balance in full each month. B, many of my cards have an outstanding balance or are maxed out. C, I still have credit available and I pay off as much as I can each month. Or D, I would borrow money on a credit card if a solid investment opportunity arose. So lastly, whichever one of those letters, those answer choices best describes you, write that letter down next to number 12 on your answer sheet. So now that we've gone through each question, we need to interpret your scores. So go back to question number 1, and you'll see here at the top of my screen, each answer has a corresponding code letter that goes with it. So for number 1, if you answered A, then you would write a P next to number 1 on your answer sheet. If you answered B, you would write an S next to number 1 on your answer sheet. If you wrote C down as your answer, then you would write an E next to number 1 on your answer sheet. If you wrote D down as your answer to number 1, you would write an R on your answer sheet. Next, do the same thing for question number 2. If you chose A, write a P down. If you chose B, write down S. If you chose C, write down an E. And if you chose D, write down an R. Now, question 3, the scoring's a little bit different, so pay attention. On number 3, if you answered A, then you'll write an S down. If you answered B, you'll write a P down. For number 3, if you wrote a C down as your answer, then you'll put an R as your score. And then if you answered D, you would put an E down. So you're going to do that for every single one of the questions. So here is the scoring card. So number 4, if you answered A, you do a P. Number 4, if you answered B, you would put an S down. If you answered C, you'd put an R. And then if you answered D, you would put an E down. So do that for every single one of your answers all the way down to number 12, looking at this score sheet. So you might have to pause the video now to look at your answers for each one of the questions, and then write down that corresponding letter, that corresponding score next to that question. Okay? Do that for 1 through 12. And when you're finished, go continue the video to the next slide. So what you want to do is you want to count up all the P's, all the E's, and all the R's, and all the S's that you have. And at the bottom of your paper out to the side, for P, you'll put equals however many number of P's that you scored on your answer sheet. You'll do the same thing for E, for R, and for S. Now, whichever one of those numbers is number 1 in your choices, that's going to be your dominant driver for your money habitude. Now, what I want you to do is email me through Blackboard your answer key, not your key, but your responses. So whatever you got for P, whatever you got for E, for R, and for S. And then what I'll do is I'll post those in the gradebook, and you're going to need those responses for assignment 3, part 1, okay? Now, in class on Tuesday, I'll go over each of the money personalities and what those mean and how you can interpret what your dominant driver is and what that means for you. And then if you have a significant other, you might want to find out what their dominant driver is so you can figure out what that means to them. And the great thing with this being on video now is that you could have your significant other go through this video and figure out what their dominant driver is. Okay, I hope that helps you get through the money personality assessment. Just, again, make sure you send me those scores and we'll interpret those. Okay, send those scores to me through Blackboard via email, and I'll put those in the gradebook for you. Okay, thanks for watching, and you have a good rest of your day.